The Hex Scrolls had 11 days to get from the Flavor Town to Rutao, the planet their next mission is in. This mission is an urgent mission from Deliverance. Bryn hasn't really told them much of anything beyond the fact that it's urgent and get the fuck in the Adolith. Deliverance couldn't send us a dropship themselves. They're too far out. This is time sensitive, and we've got a week to get there and get in before it gets too bad and it's can't be rectified anymore. So we're all that we're all that stands between some kind of catastrophe at this point, and Deliverance is relying on us. So Diafault, we have to use the Adolith for that. So I don't know how Bryn worked it out with the Adolith crew, but we have now piled onto the Adolith to fly over to Rutao to do this. So in order to prepare for this, Diafault grabbed a bunch of her gaming equipment, and she also grabbed a huge bunch of the stuffed animals from her bed and put them in a bag and brought them with her onto the Adolith so she could at least have some semblance of her usual living space in the Adolith. And she's in a mood this entire time. She's been in a mood. And so she just kind of hasn't been talking to anybody at all. She's just been brooding, and like, if anybody even tries to talk to her, she just kind of brushes them off. Not kinda, very brushes them off. That saying kinda is like a speech mannerism of mine. She is not kinda anything. She is very telling people, please go off, please fuck off. In the politest terms possible. She's not in a good mood. So she gets into, the Adolith, and she finds some quarters that she can take for herself, and she slams into them, and she just basically closes the door. And the only time she even comes out is to get food, occasionally. That's it. You haven't seen her for 2 days. She's been sulking and brooding in her room for 2 days, and the only, knowledge that you can get that she's even alive is that she still streams routinely, like when she says she will, roughly once a day. But even in her streams, she just kind of seems, if you watch them, I don't know if you do, if anybody does, but even in the streams, she just seems kind of off. Like, she's doing her best, but it's clear she's not quite herself anymore. So that's what it's been 2 days. She's just been bunkered down at the Edolith, barely leaving, not talking to anybody, and morose streaming for 2 straight days. So that's Diafault's situation right now.
So, where Sylvia's been this whole time is mostly working on her mech, but she's been keeping an eye on Diafault more or less since their second conversation together, and the change in behavior is definitely a thing she's noticed by now. So, a couple of days into the journey, she goes and fires up her tablet and begins looking into the filings that Bryn made when he was first setting up the Hex Girls as essentially a corporate entity for hire. And she specifically looks at a couple of things, including an internal roster, and she gets what she wants from that, and she's satisfied. And it's about the second or third day into the voyage, probably the second day, because that's like the point where she's like, okay, this is not going away on its own, where toward the end of the day, she makes an excuse to bring Diafault her dinner, and shows up with, like, a little dinner tray from wherever the mess hall is on the Adolith, and just knocks at the door. Hey, I brought dinner.
For a moment, there's, like, that teenage silence of, gonna pretend I didn't hear you. But eventually, you're gonna have to knock again.
Sylvia doesn't even bother knocking in. She's like, alright, I guess I'm coming in.
Yeah. The door's not locked. I don't know why, but we can figure it out later. But yeah, you can just come right in. I'm sure she did lock it, but I'm sure Sylvia can just bypass that lock. We don't.
Sylvia definitely hacked the lock at this point. She's come prepared for this confrontation. So she just goes like, hey, so remind me to have a conversation with the captain of the Edolith about his e-security, because if I can do this, he's got some work to do, but also dinner. It's, food, I think. here.
I brought you a bag of Doritos. You like Doritos, right?
So you like them, yeah. She did. She genuinely brought, like, a little baggie of Doritos.
Oh, if only Diafault...
That is a thing she would think to do.
If only Diafault was in a place to appreciate such a sentimental gesture. So thoughtful. She's not.
Yeah.
She's got her arms crossed and she's in a chair, you know, and she's like glaring at you with like the biggest, most surly, most I am an angry teenager and I'm not happy with you pout. She's big time sulking. Okay. Also, like, she's in dirty clothes. Like, she's not in the most up on the hygiene. Okay, she's got like the ratty fucking hoodie, right? And jeans she's been wearing.
Hold
for
on, no
like
one
2
understands
days.
me, Mom. I've got
Yep.
Fred Durst playing
Yep.
in the background at like.
Yeah, exactly. She's been wearing these same clothes for 2 days, easily. Okay.
Okay. So Sylvia just looks at her and she goes, "So are you gonna talk about what happened, or am I just gonna have to stand here awkwardly? We could do both. I'm very good at standing here."
What's there to talk about, Sylvia? What do you eat? You don't even know.
No,
Diafault,
I
like,
don't. That's why I asked.
Diafault stands up angrily and just snatches the plate, like the platter from you, and does like drops back down into her seat, like grr, but absolutely goes for the Doritos first. Hell yeah!
You're very welcome, by the way. Everyone else had forgotten.
Harumph. You could say you're welcome, but she has definitely not thanked you.
Yeah, that's exactly why she did, yes. Just like, you're welcome. So... Hun, this is not normal for you. You are usually spacey from the group, but not like this. Something's wrong. And you've got 2 choices as I see it. You can either talk to me about it, or I can hover over you for the next 8 days, and you can get really tired of me coming into your room every night to ask you what's wrong.
I do remind you that you're recording your every interaction, so people will be seeing this every day.
Oh gosh, she might think of that, yeah. She's just kind of like, I was just like, I mean, I don't mind being a background character on your streams, but I don't think you want that, so...
I'm gonna embarrass you in public.
This is the ultimate big sister move.
Right? The Diafault, like, sits there, like, calculating her risks, running the math in her head for a moment, and she looks so mad. Fine. And she, like, you know, finishes the bag of Doritos and, like, crumples it up and tosses it at you, right?
Sylvia just kind of, like, allows it to, like, bounce off her hard suit. It rolls to the ground pathetically, and she's like, okay.
You're right. I'm off my game. Your critique has been acknowledged. I will adjust. I will compensate.
If you want to compensate, you could start by telling me what's wrong. You're not yourself, and I don't just mean the normal not yourself that you do all the time. I mean, something is very wrong. And you aren't talking to me about it, which is not a surprise, because you talk to me only when I confront you. And you're not talking to anyone else about it that I can tell, and that ain't healthy, so here we are.
I thought... She, like, looks around. And she, like, she can't control whether, like, she doesn't have full control of the cameras here on the Adolith, right? She doesn't know if she can turn them off. Like she can in her compartment, right? So she
Yeah.
actually has kind of that panicked rat look, right?
Sylvia kind of like actually looks up into the corner and she goes, "Oh, actually, hold on a moment. Maybe I can." And she starts walking over and she fiddles around with something, and let me pull up a dice roller here because I actually want to roll her hacker fix to see if she can just remotely turn off the
Yeah,
cameras.
let's turn them off. I'm rooting for you, by the way. Remember how we do
Thank you.
this? If you're going to be using your background, you can get a plus d6 accuracy to this.
Yep.
Additionally,
And
you get a +2 from any just or your plus whatever to the roll based on how many points you put in hacker fix. So if you like say
yeah.
have hacker
So
hacker 6 plus 6, then you roll your d20 plus 6 plus 1d6 if you can say I'm using my background somehow in some way.
let me see if I can just pull up a good dice roller real fast. Yeah, so for Sylvia, she's always rolling at a +2, and I don't know that she has a specific background for this, but she definitely has the experience doing little things like this before.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and hit that roll button. So she rolled an 18 +2, so
I am pretty sure that does it. If Befner wants to argue about this, you can message us in the Discord. But an 18 is almost a crit.
So I rolled an 18 with skill triggers. That's a 20, which under Lancer rules is a crit.
Mm-hmm. So you crit this. These camera,
Yeah,
all of them in this room are out.
Yeah, Sylvia just like disconnects a wire somewhere. It's like, I'll explain this later.
Yeah. Do you want to do anything, any further mischief since you rolled a crit, or are you just good with this?
She could potentially set something up to like bug Diafault here, but she probably wouldn't do that.
Okay.
She wants to keep an eye on this kid. She doesn't want to invade her privacy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think she's going to just kind of like, what she'll probably do is just see if she can quickly, using her tablet and like the little thing she's done externally there, set up a loop so that one on the Adolith freaks out and thinks the camera's out and comes to talk to them while we're having the conversation.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, Diafault sees you do this, and all you basically have to do is show her, look, I've looped the video, nobody can actually hear us, we're good. And she visibly relaxes.
Yeah. Sylvia also just closes the door. Like, let's be smart about this.
Right.
She's just like, so, does that help a little bit?
We'll see. Alright, so in light of our most recent conversation, I decided to run a little experiment. And she's still sulking, by the way. Her shoulders are like up near her ears, and like she's like curled up in that teenage way, right? I decided to be a little real from time to time with some folk, as you know, to do a little test run, see how it went. But I didn't do it with you because I didn't think you'd be honest with me. You would just tell me what you think I would want you to hear. I needed somebody who I knew for sure would be 100% honest with me about me and what I'm showing them, not somebody who's just going to tell me what I want to hear or what they think I want to hear. So, you remember that girl from Deliverance who sent us all her contact information?
Evanon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she seemed pleasant enough. Did you try talking with her?
She is pleasant enough, and yes, I did try talking with her because she's ordered to tell us her exact thoughts and feelings and always be available, so I knew whatever I showed her, she'd tell me what she actually thought. And I don't know. She warmed up, right? Eventually. But then I had to put put the act back on. Because, you know, can't... I gotta get back to what I'm doing. I don't know. That didn't... I don't think that went out. I thought she was just in on it after that we'd made an agreement, right? That we were just gonna play this part, do this thing together, right? But the more I've been talking to her these last couple of days, or trying to talk to her these last couple of days, the more I'm starting to think that she's not playing. Sylvia?
Mm-hmm. I've just been listening. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, Kova's not playing. She's not doing her part. She's being real.
Have you considered the fact that maybe if you were being real with her, she just wants to be your friend? I don't know Kovanen, but I know a little bit about you. And I know a little bit about... Well, I'm not going to say I know your situation, because honestly, up until a couple of days ago, I didn't know that your name is Quinn.
She blinks a couple times at that.
I had to pull that from the roster documents when Bryn filed to make the Hex Girls company. So I wasn't snooping in your personal business or anything, but I do know you have a real name, and I know you deliberately don't use it around any of the rest of us. I wasn't sure if you were trying to hide it, if you were trying to run away from something. I'm going to be honest with you, Quinn. I am very out of touch.
Don't
what?
Are you really talking to Quinn right now, or are you talking to Diafault right now? Because I need to know.
I'm talking to whichever one you want to be, but I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather talk to Quinn.
Alright. Hello, Sylvia. Fine. Yeah. No, yeah, I was born Quinn Riesling, of the Riesling family, from Varna, Governor Vadim Riesling. That's my dad.
That explains some things. Go on.
You know, all the natural resources that are completely, utterly owned by my dad. Yeah, that money is mine. Like, all that wealth is mine. All the connections he's made, those are mine. All the fame and glory he achieved as a general for the Union Army, you know, in the early days of Overture. Yeah. So, I had the best education, the best training, the best upbringing, the best everything. But it's not that being Quinn is a bad thing. It's just being Quinn isn't marketable. So it doesn't have the message that people want to hear. You have to give that up in a Buddha way. You're not going to understand that, I don't think. So that you can be what the people need. And that's what I've done. So yeah, I've buried Quinn. But it's not because I'm ashamed of her or that I think it's bad to be me. I mean, I'm a little ashamed. I have a lot of privilege. I've got a lot of wealth. I have everything I could ever want.
I am going to be honest with you, Quinn. You shouldn't feel ashamed even for that. And that's coming from someone who has a jack in her back because a relative got into debt. And it somehow fell on my head because the asshole made me co-sign a loan with him once.
How would it make you feel to know that if we had known each other then, back in those days, you could have just said, yo, help, and I could have paid off that entire debt and not even felt it?
I would feel incredibly good about that because I don't like being in debt and I don't like the stupid jack in my back. I don't really care if your dad has money or if you pilot a mech or what. I care that we live together and I've known you for a while now and you're not doing good. And you need someone there who you can't be honest with me when you can at least be friends with me. I'd actually like that a lot.
I see. The way I see it, I have too much, and too many people have too little. I see what I
That's
have, and let me finish, please, Sylvia. I
Sure.
see what I have, and I recognize that everybody else in the galaxy should have a little bit close to what I have. Not quite. This is way too opulent. But I'd like to have a lot less, and I'd like everybody else to have a little more. And it's not right that they don't.
Okay. I also agree with that. But I don't resent you for having been born into wealth you didn't ask for.
But
That would be dumb.
people like me, normally, I'm a rare exception because of stumbling across this person I keep referencing. People like me do resent and blame people like you for your situation. And
I've
people
never been a
and people like Kova for her situation.
I've never been particularly interested in what people think of me, one way or the other. If people really want to resent my situation and stop me from keeping other people out of the same, I have a robot.
I mean, a lot of people have robots, so yeah, but yeah.
A lot of people have robots. I've got a good one.
Guess your robot's pretty great. I mean, it's not better than my robot. Your robot does
Oh
not
no,
look.
hell no.
Your robot does
At
not
least
look
not
like
after I'm
looks like
doing
a
your
cute kitty. But sorry, go ahead, finish.
At least not after I do some tune-ups on it, which, by the way, you and I are going to have to work on together because I want you to know how to actually do maintenance on that cannon. It's a
Yeah.
good cannon, by the way.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm thinking maybe I'll actually get a bigger one. We'll get a bit further up in Drake, and you can slap a Leviathan on there, and that thing just is
Oh,
quite silly.
Lord. And somebody just, like, shudders. She's like, between you and Lyra, we are probably going to have enough ordnance within this unit to take out a small planet.
I was also looking at the. It's pronounced Raleigh. I know it's pronounced Raleigh. I've known it's pronounced Raleigh the entire time. I've been pronouncing it incorrectly on purpose this entire time. So, on the Raleigh, the kinetic hammer, that shit looks good.
Oh, I'm so jealous of that thing. Anyway, look, I don't want to tell you how to live or how to be or what to feel about your wealth. I'm certainly a little jealous of it, and I'm not gonna lie. I would, if I had half a chance, smack your dad over the head and tell him to redistribute that shit. But your money, your family money, is something you couldn't control any more than I could control being born without it. I'm not gonna resent you for that.
Well, once I inherit it, I can do things a bit more equitably. But I run the numbers. By the way, I'm not stupid. I ran the numbers, and even just my family.
I never thought you were, for the record.
Oh, even with just the amount that my family has. By the way, this is an estimate, and she actually pulls up the tables. We got
You won't.
several billion people in this universe, and here's how much money my family currently has. My estimation is probably a little bit more than this, actually, but that's ridiculous. By the way, this is several trillion.
Sylvia just looks at this information. She goes, "You are surprisingly well adjusted."
So if we gave a certain amount, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. But even the amount that I'd be most comfortable with, I wouldn't be able to give enough to everybody to get everybody where I would like them to be, where I think they deserve to be, because this isn't enough. Just my dad, just my wealth is not enough to save everybody, to get everybody where I feel they need to be. We'd have to get all of them. So here's the top most richest people in Overture right now, and she again pulls up the thing. Welcome to communism, Sylvia. Here's Marcus Steele. He's got $187 billion.
Damn.
This
And
is
somebody's like looking this list over. Quinn, have you done any lists about this that cross-reference corporate holdings?
Oh yeah, she pulls up those tables. So here's here again, Marcus Steele. He's the leader of the Harrison Armory. Here's Harrison Armory's holdings. We're talking trillions here. This is actually getting close to gazillions.
Does this say administered planets?
Mm-hmm. This isn't even factoring in like resources.
So,
Right?
Sylvia
This is just
has
cold,
and she's
hard
rubbing her
assets,
temples, like
right?
watching wealth
Financial.
inequality in front of her.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to read there.
If we took all of this from them, and by the way, most of this is made up. This doesn't even exist. Right? We're just pretending this exists. But if we took all of this from all of them and we just split it equally amongst all of us, everybody would be living like me. Could be living like me. And we'd still have plenty left over to do all sorts of silly stuff.
Damn. And Sylvia just looks at this and she looks at Quinn and she just smiles and she just goes,
If we do this,
I know.
no more Covanens, no more Diafaults.
No more Sylvias.
That's right.
Thank God for that.
Well, I don't think being a Sylvia is a bad thing. I think what was done to Sylvia was a bad thing.
And I don't think being a Riesling or a Quinn is a bad thing.
Being a Diafault isn't a bad thing either.
No, it's not. But I'll be very honest with you. You could just be Quinn. And people would respect you for that.
I'm not sure they would. And I've invested so much into Diafault to build up this brand. And I'm not exactly sure if we can achieve this. She gestures back to the charts, communism. Even through the vehicle of Diafault, which I haven't been pivoting towards quite yet. Because I've got 287 million Twitch subscribers. That's not enough.
Did you say million?
Yeah, million. Actually, it's a couple more now since since I almost got blown up last mission. I got about 87 million more. So yeah. Anyway, I've got that number.
I'm going to regret doing this. Oh my God, I'm gonna regret doing this. Do you want me to give you a feed to the Queen Grace so you can get additional footage?
Bold of you to assume that I haven't already done that. And she winks at you.
Oh, I would have. And somebody's like, I know you haven't done that, because if you had, I would have noticed. Believe me, I spend too much damn time in that thing.
What I've done is, I have all these cameras on my mech. If you you have onboard cameras in your mech that is recording at all times. Just like Brand does. And I know enough to just jack into your recorded feeds, and I can grab stuff from you. But if you actually want to actively be controlling a camera, not just those onboard cameras, which, by the way, the camera angles are those kind of more professional camera angles are actually much better. But yeah, if you actually want to do this, sure, go right ahead. I can show you how to do it.
I'd love that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but
But this is.
If you need my help, I'll back you up.
She chuckles and she's
I
like,
can't believe I'm doing this.
this communism thing that I'm on, I just stumbled across it, by the way, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I'm still new to it, still figuring it out. There's a whole lot of stuff about it. I don't know. I've been learning a lot from the Holy Front. They got a weird idea about it. And Deliverance's idea of communism is also real fucky. Not a fan of that. They're, I guess, according to the internet slang, what you would call tankies.
I don't know what a tanky is, but I'm going to assume that's not great.
It's not the best. Not all tankies hashtag are bad, but this is pretty bad. If what the internet claims they are doing is what they're actually doing, it's not the best. I'm sure I like to imagine in my head I'm going to draw fan art of it one day that me, Leora Lambert, has a Stalin body pillow. Anyway,
Sylvia's just like staring here, and she has this look of wonder, then amusement, then full on giggling slowly across her face. And she just very gently, she kind of like opens her arms slightly, like, do you want a hug?
uh, not yet. She like gives you like the one finger. Maybe later. Let me think on it. So this communism thing I haven't quite pivoted to with Diafault yet because I'm not exactly sure how to set the stage for it. I've already built this persona as like the edgy, doesn't quite drop gamer words streamer, right? And if I pivoted into communism, because that's just the most broadly appealing brand. Just so you know, I've done so much testing. I've tested it so much.
Hey, Quinn, you figured out a lot of stuff. You might know this already, but I'm gonna drop a little bit of information I've been picking up on you. Do you remember Blair?
Mm-hmm.
I may or may not have almost gotten myself in trouble back there, hanging out around a field hospital. So you already know, because all of us know, the Common Front is trying to organize Blair. I think there's gonna be a full-on war there not too long from now. All of the locals are already so up in arms that it is not safe for corp security to at foot in places. I saw a guy back down because an unarmed medic yelled at him, and a bunch of injured people started taking her side. And next thing he knew, he was like tailing out of there. The climate's right. That place is a powder keg, and there is no way that if that happens, they're not tapping us to run the next mission there.
Mm-hmm.
You could use that as the staging point.
You're right. I could. I absolutely could. Maybe you're right. And I think that's good. I can start building towards this character line. I'm sorry, that's what it's called for Diafault. I can start small and just talk about how I ran it. Like, I stumbled across this dude named Karl Marx. By the way, I did stumble across this dude named Karl Marx. I'm sure reading his shit, and I'll talk about how I think it's funny, and I'll start liking it ironically. That's the key, by the way. You like it ironically, and then it's kind of goes 360 into sincere. And you just kind of pipeline them into sincere. The Nazis, the fascists, sorry, they do this too, but for bad.
I understand that, but I think you're gonna get a lot of good done just by having a camera there. Mm-hmm. There are gonna be a lot of innocent people dead.
But that Diafault blanches a little, and like suddenly you realize like she doesn't believe that. Like, no. People don't really die from this. It's hard coded to, like, all the tech is hard coded to not actually kill people. They'll get really badly hurt.
Yeah. Sylvia's just gonna like reach out her arm and like almost put it on Quinn's shoulder and like pull it back just a little bit. Just because I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so upfront about that. Look.
I'm not just an accomplice. I'm also, for what it's worth, your friend now.
They call it. They have a word for it. It's comrade. She smirks.
Well, then I am your comrade now, and as your comrade, I can tell you this. You're really young to be trying to save the whole damn world. And you are doing and I had it wrong before, you are doing exactly what I would have wanted to do in your age. Corpse hadn't stuck this shunt in me. So, not because of Diafault, because of Quinn Riesling, I'm in your corner, and the two of us will work together from here on out. That seem fair?
It does, and thank you. We'll see what we can do. I mean, I gotta build up to actual real on the camera, okay? Because I had to do this to get here, right? It's gonna take some time, and I'm on camera at all times. Don't take it personally like Kova does, all right? This is an act. It's kayfabe, and I can't break it. Too much is riding. Too much is riding on the show. You get me?
I understand where you're coming from, even if I don't understand everything. And I'll do what I can for you.
Cool. So,
just do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's on brand, but God, girl, don't get yourself killed charging another tank. I had lost a year off my life watching that. I was really worried.
Sylvia, my seat would have ejected if he had actually landed a critical hit, and I would have been fine.
Those were tech barbarians, hun.
But my seat still works, and also their seats work.
Oh. As Sylvia you see Sylvia's face cross. Those mechs don't all... You know, maybe it's for the best we don't talk about this right now.
So about what's been chewing at me. It's not, I mean, this communism stuff, this better world stuff, absolutely chewing at me. But this is more of a personal thing, okay? Just between us comrades here. I don't think Kovanen likes Diafault. And
She might not.
I don't know if she likes Quinn either. And Diafault, like, kind of looks a little nervous. But I like Kovanen. And she's not okay with that.
That's really rough. Yeah, my first crush sucked too.
Is that what this is?
Might be.
She's
sure sounds like it. That's about what I was like in high school.
She's just a girl on the other side of his vid screen, but I don't know. I don't want to gush too much about it. There's this intensity to her, sincerity to her.
Yep, that's a crush. Sylvia's just kind of like, oh, called it.
She's capital A authentic and is nice. Even when she's, acting towards her principles, she's authentic. She's doing what she thinks will make other people happy. I think. I'm not sure. I'm reading too much into it. I always read too much into it.
No, I don't know Kovanen very well, and to be honest, you were not wrong about Deliverance. Everything I found about them, I don't know if I trust them, but I can tell you this much. I don't know if Kovanen's a good person or not. I don't know anything about the real her. But I do know you.
Well, I looked her up. No, finish though, but I want to show you what I found because I'm a creepy stalker who has a crush apparently. But do keep talking as she pulls up the data.
Sylvia just looks, just like, so she just like starts giggling without meaning to. She's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to like make fun of you here. You are exactly the way I was at your age with this. I followed a girl home and took notes. I have no idea why I did that. I was so dumb.
I'm being so dumb
I
right
probably
now.
still have that notebook somewhere.
So check this out. She's their fucking mascot. Like, for real. She's their Diafault. Look at how much propaganda she's on. She's their fucking poster child.
Jesus, you're right. This is actually really persuasive.
They've written songs about her. They slept, by the way.
What?
They slept.
Wait, they wrote... Sylvia just, like, finds one of these audio tracks and, like, hits play on it. What does this actually
It's
sound
like La Internationale, but like all about like the ideals that they pretend Kovanen represents about them. Okay? Yeah.
Just like, oh god, no, like even more appropriately, just like the East is red.
Yeah.
So it's just sitting there like looks down, looks up, down again. Well, I don't know what I expected. Turns it off. Like, it sounds like she's under a lot of stress.
It sounds like she has just as much weighing on keeping up her act as I do.
Now I can see why you're obsessed with her now.
But we come from very, very different worlds. Her planet, like the one she came from, was a hot mess. It's very much in, I believe, I am assuming, the same condition the planet we're about to go to is in. And Deliverance came and saved her.
Well, Sylvia just kind of uncomfortably kind of rubs, she just kind of like uncomfortably like rubs the back of her head like, I don't have an easy answer for this.
Anyway, I don't know what to do about this. I just gotta think about it, and there's no way she can ever know. I have already showed her too much of my hand.
Well,
She doesn't, I don't know if she likes me. She definitely doesn't like Diafault. I think, look, I've got this idea for how I'm gonna do this, but I don't know if she's not willing to go along with it. I'm thinking for a cool storyline, right? Because we have so much in common, kind of, but also we're so different. Diafault should have a crush on her. Look, this is just, it'd be a cool storyline. And also, like in these rom-coms that I play, sometimes people who are in love with each other but don't actually tell each other they're in love with each other will pretend to be fake dating, but actually they're really dating, pretending to be fake dating. You see where I'm going with this? Like this whole keikaku. Look how much Diafault is like overcomplicating, just telling this girl she likes her.
so it's just like watching her and going like, you could just lead with telling her you like her.
I already did that on kind of on accident, kind of on purpose, and she didn't take it well.
Maybe you need to give her some space, and then if she comes back around, you can talk, and if not, you'll still be friends.
I don't even think we are that. You know, I think we're. You know, look, Sylvia, I think this is enough real for me. I'm feeling a little reeled out here.
Well,
she stands up and heads over to
fair.
her bed.
That's fair. I don't have a division between real and not real, but this sounds really complicated, and I like to bring things down to easy to understand levels. Common folk levels, if you will. Let me put it like this. She's just like rubbing her temples.
Diafault's like rummaging around on the stuffed animals on her bed as you're talking to her.
So, we're squad mates.
Mm-hmm.
We're comrades now.
Where is it?
And
Oh no, I brought it. Keep going.
if you need someone to talk to about Diafault, about your family, about anything, about girls, believe me, I would love to have a conversation about literally anything that isn't what I do for a living. That's about 90% of the conversations I have because I've forgotten how to have other ones. I'd like to have you around.
I'm not going
And
anywhere.
my room does not have cameras.
Ooh. Okay, I'll remember that. Here it is. She like picks up it's about, oh god, what size should be like a couch pillow, like one of those couch sized pillow, plush armadillos. She pulls it out. Here it is. All right. She like walks over to you and hands it over to you. Here you go, Sylvia. This is an armadillo.
Sylvia just takes it. She's like, "Thank you. I can tell."
It's got it's got a shell, right? But the shell's part of it, just like your suit is part of you. It's a metaphor. Please leave.
Sylvia just hugs this armadillo, like hard enough that she actually like has to overcorrect for a second. Okay, because she's afraid that the power enhancements on her hard suit are going to hurt it. It's like, I'll see you at breakfast. Are you gonna eat with the rest of us?
I'll think of, are there going to be more Doritos?
I can arrange for there to be more Doritos, potentially.
And then I think I can arrange to grace the Hex Girls with Diafault's lovely premise. Sylvia, I just want them to like me. Kova, you, the Hex Girls, the internet, the universe. I want them to like me, and I want them to like Diafault too. So I'll see you around.
I'll see you too, and for what it's worth, I already like you. You're a good kid, Gwen. And Sylvia, with her new little armadillo under her arm, walks out of the room, lets the door close behind her, and as she does, she just kind of looks down and she's like, "You're gonna need a name."
Yeah. Diafault will get back down into her chair and eat her food, and she doesn't know how to turn back on the cameras, so now she's like, well,
and
shit.
actually, like, the door, like, slides open as she's sitting down, and Sylvia pokes in her head. "Oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. To turn the cameras back on, just take that blue wire, not the red wire, not the green wire, and just connect it like this," and she kind of, like, does gestures.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, it's fine. It's a really easy
Go! She, like, throws a pillow at you!
So he just, like, lets the door shut, it, like, impacts into it.
Alright, that's the end of the scene, I think.